Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Mackie and welcome to today's reading vlog for Bookmas, wherein I'm gonna try to read some of the most viral books of 2023 because that was last year, 2024. This year is coming to a close very soon and I want to try to get through some of the viral books on my immediate TBR because I just need a reason to read and I've got it now, so that's what we're doing. Now, if you've seen my other Bookmas video, I don't know what order these are coming out in, of me reading my winter TBR, you will see that this is the same location as that because I just finished recording that clip like a minute ago and I'm starting with this one now. And the thing is, while that video may have been in my drafts for over a year at this point, this video, the original idea for it, has been in my drafts for maybe 2 years at this point, which is arguably the most time I've taken to put out a video. And unfortunately, I wish I got better at it. It's just something that keeps happening. And so while I can show you clips from the first video, the first time around I recorded this, the clips aren't that great because I keep stuttering in them. I'm not really good at talking to the camera back then because it's one of the earliest videos I've recorded, keep that in mind. And the quality is really bad in terms of lighting, sound, all these other things that I've fixed over the years now. And so I'm coming back in to talk about these books refreshed and anew, but from a different perspective in the future now, because while I do like the video concept and it has potential for me, I would like to put it out this year once and for all so I can delete that original clip I've had since so long. So I'm gonna show it to you now just so you know that I'm not lying. This is from back in 2022 when I tried doing the video for the first time for 2022. And so do you get what I mean? I do believe, or I at least want to believe, that it's gotten better, my video filming over the years. But I'll be the judge of that, you'll be the judge of that, we shall see. Let's talk about the books I'm reading for today's reading vlog. Now, originally back in 2022, I read Jennette McCurdy's memoir, I'm Glad My Mom Died, and I read Lessons in Chemistry because these were really viral books back in the day and they still qualify for the viral 2023 books list. There's one I actually found online and that's what I've been referring to for reading. But then because the vlog was going to be only 10 minutes long, I decided now in the future that I want to read one more book so it becomes a little longer and more enjoyable for you for Bookmas. And so let's go over to me right now, like a week or so ago when I was reading Yellowface to add on to the video, and it's another viral book so it just makes sense to be read. Hi guys, so I'm actually reading Yellowface right now. I've started the first book unofficially, I don't even know, for the video, and let's talk about it. So it essentially follows, and I'm giving you the summary first thing because I have so many things to say about it, but it follows June Hayward and her friend Athena Liu. Now the thing is, they're both writers, but June is in her own words, a basic white girl who didn't really get too much success with her book, and in comparison her friend Athena is I think she's ethnically Asian or something like that, and she thinks June thinks that actually helped boost Athena's ratings or reviews or whatever, and because of that Athena's at the top of her game. So imagine the biggest author at the time and June is at the very bottom of the ladder, and somehow they're friends because they end up at the same place at the same time every time. And so because of that, over the years they made a friendship or whatever, except the friendship involves Athena boasting all the time and then June being jealous the entire time, but neither of them are admitting it, so it's a friendship. And now in context of that, one day Athena, she's signed her Netflix deal or whatever with her book, so her book is being adapted to go onto Netflix, which if that was a real thing I'd probably go watch it. They have met up for drinks or whatever, and then eventually they end up going to Athena's apartment to keep celebrating. And Athena actually tells June that she just finished a new book. She finished a new manuscript that no one knows about because she's very cagey about her books. She doesn't like too many people knowing about it when it's happening, and then she just lets them know once it's done and her publisher can look into it, get it out, whatever. And then right after that she ends up dying in a freak accident. Now before you wonder if June did it, no, this is not a mystery thriller. June did not do it. At least from what I can tell to right now, it was a freak accident. Like I said, it was naturally done. And now that she's dead and June just found out about her new manuscript that she just finished that day, June sees the perfect chance to steal it, and so she takes it along with her. And then in the next few chapters she has the dilemma of whether or not she should put it out in Athena's honor, because Athena would want her last written manuscript to go out to the world. Except if June tried putting it under Athena and June's name, because June's gonna have to go through the entire thing and proofread it and correct parts out, take complete parts out altogether, finish in stuff that Athena left for maybe later to describe and stuff like that. So June figures maybe people will not honor it the way it would be honored if it was fully done by Athena, and so there's more moral dilemmas and stuff, and then June just decides, why don't I just cut Athena's name altogether and then market it under myself. So June essentially ends up stealing the book for herself. No one knows about it, so no one even knows she did it, and she sells it off as her own. So June is now selling a book that was written by a dead person that she stole, and that person was supposed to be her friend, but she's jealous of this person for years, and now she's getting the success that she was jealous of, except it's stolen success. I hope you got any of that, because I've been speaking very fast. And then one day someone starts to figure out that she didn't write the book. So how far is she gonna go to protect the fact that she wrote the book and the success is hers, not stolen? And then along with that, I also quickly wanted to say, her name is June Hayward. While she's selling the book, she markets it as Juniper Song, I think. So it's very racially ambiguous. And then even in like her author photo or whatever, she takes a picture of herself in like the sunlight, so she's looking like tanned and stuff. So no one can really figure out her race, which adds to the point where there's talk about races, there's talk about ethnicity, there's talk about, the way the book industry works, which is so interesting because I didn't know it takes so long or such a lengthy process, which sounds so incredibly difficult to publish books. As I sit here and I read like maybe one book in 2 evenings, and so the fact that that one book took maybe 1 or 2 years to come out to me, for me to finish it in 2 evenings, makes me appreciate books more. Get that? But then apart from that, there's also talk about like morals and, just moral code, rights, and whether, June should have really done what she did, the ethics of it. And the talk about it is so interestingly done, because you're in June's perspective, keep that in mind. It's first person POV. I don't really know what I'm trying to say with that. All I want to tell you guys is this book is written by R.F. Kuang. You've probably heard of her name. She is very popular on Book Talk, especially BookTube. She has written Babel. Alright, that's all you need to know. She's written Babel. She scares me so much. I don't even know her. She intimidates me because her book, or the concepts of her books, seem so incredibly like smart people worthy, wherein I was just like pushing this book off because I actually needed to start recording for this video like a week ago, but I've been procrastinating so much that I was just like, what? Maybe I'll do it tomorrow. And that tomorrow never happened, and it's a week later now, and I'm like rushing on schedule because I'm behind it to read this book. Which, don't get me wrong, it's not like a chore for me, I'm having the best time, but I was so scared to read it in the first place because it says R.F. Kuang wrote it, and that's the funniest part, because now that I'm reading it, it doesn't feel like anything that requires like a huge brain. Like, you need to obviously understand what's written, you need to absorb the essence of the book, but apart from that, I feel like anyone can read it. You can literally just pick it up and binge it, because I started it last night, and I was, finishing tasks while I was listening to the audiobook till 4 in the morning. 4 in the morning, I was listening to this book, and I was, vibing, having a good time with it, just like wanting to keep listening, because the craziest things happen when you're least expecting them. And I was on the tip of my toes, I was on the edge of my seat, having such a good time, and then I realized, oh my god, but this is an R.F. Kuang book. So I am so excited to read more of her books now. I genuinely believe she could, if I read one more of her books, she could easily be in my top 5 authors that I've read so far into coming back into reading, because it's so good. Her writing style, firstly, she can describe human emotions very well. It's like she takes a brain, she opens it like a book, and she just writes it down, because that's so smart. And then also the story, the way it's going, I'm on the edge of my seat. The concept is very interesting, and then the way she's talking about dilemma and stuff, but it's actually done so well wherein you're not bored, because most literary fiction books I've read so far, I get bored with them, except this doesn't even feel like a literary fiction. It just feels like a book that I'm reading about someone else stealing someone's book, and I'm having a good time reading it. So I'm having a good time with this book. I believe this is going to be rated very, very highly, and I'm already halfway through it in a day. So it's late in the evening, as you can obviously tell, but I'm gonna go keep listening until probably dinner time. But I do believe I'm gonna finish it tonight, because I need to know what happens next, especially after that crazy like little hang-off we left off on. So I'm gonna see what June does now to defend herself and defend her book, air quotation marks. And I'll see you guys in a bit with more thoughts. But I think this video is off to like an amazing start, because I feel like we're gonna have some highly rated books throughout, and this one is looking up to be extremely highly rated, which I did not expect, because that's the reason I was pushing the book off and reading it for so long. But it's so accessible, it's so fun, and I'm gonna get back to it. So I'll see you guys in a bit. Bye. And so back to me again. I gave you my thoughts on Yellowface as I was starting it, and now it's time to give you final thoughts because I finished the book at this point, and I have lots of opinions about it. Let me start off by saying I was so intimidated by R.F. Kuang's literary world presence that I was actually scared to pick up the book. But if you do want to start with her books, even though this is the only book I've read by her, I would definitely recommend it because it felt so easy to get into. Like I said, it follows June Hayward. She's doing all that stuff which she shouldn't have done. And it explores so many themes, especially the commodification of writers in the modern era. Because I feel like it very well toes the line between what's good and what's evil. And also it talks about the fact that the way writers are treated and the way they're segregated, especially on the basis of race or age or just their physical appearance rather than the worth of their work, really speaks a lot about the literary industry that I didn't know until now. Because I feel like I genuinely tend to consume maybe 2 or 3 books a week, sometimes 4 or 5, and so if I'm reading so much, it's really good to be aware of the industry that gets these books out to me. And reading all of this also opened my eyes on the situation out there that is really bad, not conducive for all these authors who work so hard. They work years on end for these books for us to come read it in a day or two. And it also talks about people and the community's reaction and how people, the cancel culture works, and they talk about people, they ruin other people's lives whether or not it concerns them or not. So while I do understand that June had what she had coming, I definitely believe that cancel culture is also very well spoken about in this book. And while she had it coming, especially towards the end, when you could see her mental spiral and when you could see the guilt in her conscience overtaking her, I feel like the aspects of this book are so well spoken and so well done to the point where I'm in awe of R.F. Kuang and I look up to her as an author. There were also many aspects of this book that I actually got to see online for the book itself. So how there are like bad reviews on Goodreads and there's like stereotyping and stuff like that. It was all spoken about the book, and once I actually finished and went to go check it out on Goodreads, the weirdest part is most of the stuff came true when I was going through it. So the fact that she has expressed so many feelings into words and put them in her book and actually made it come true, that when I'm checking these reviews and I saw it literally happen in real life, it's kind of shocking that your eyes open to something that's always been in front of you and then you realize what's been going on, and it's just a weird feeling overall. And I definitely will say this book is narrated in June's perspective, and at the beginning she's more thankful of Athena and she thinks they're working in collaboration, but then towards the end you can see the way her mental spiral goes when she thinks she was the driving force behind the book rather than Athena because she got it done, she got the publishing and whatever. And so it definitely speaks about how she thinks her influence impacted the book and how one's opinions change over time. But to that I wanted to add, because you're in June's perspective from the beginning of the book, you watch her go along this entire journey, and while it is a disgusting thing that she did, the way the writing is in this book is so manipulative that at some points I actually found myself sympathizing for her before I literally had to slap my mind and being like, listen, this is not correct morally, this is probably the worst thing you could do to your friend, or even if it's someone you're just jealous of. And so it's also very interesting to see how R.F. Kuang's writing style made me feel so many different emotions in one go. And so for that reason I'm giving this book 4 stars. I will say the beginning, like maybe 60 to 100 pages of the book were definitely a 5-star for me, but it fell as I kept reading it, not for any specific reason, it's just because my 5 stars are very highly viewed in my mind. But this was again an amazing book that I really enjoyed getting to, and I can't wait to read more of her backlist. And so this is one viral book off our list, and that I really had a great experience with. The next book I read, back from 2022, and I'm just coming to talk about it, was actually I'm Glad My Mom Died by Jennette McCurdy. It's her memoir about her life and her experiences working as an iCarly star. And it's so weird because I never watched the show myself growing up, but so many of my friends, the older ones I used to be friends with, watched it. We'd all speak about it, and we'd all speak about how, life-changing it would be if you could just be like a child actor, a child star, and you could get to like star in all these fun-looking shows. close. But when you read the book, it truly opens your mind to what actually happened to her during, and it's honestly traumatizing to think that all these people in her close circle could do that to this woman, and the way certain experiences from childhood have impacted her till this modern day. Now, obviously, I don't really want to go in detail because this is Jennette's story. I'm going to let her tell it, which is why if you're watching this video, I'd encourage you to go ahead, buy the book, support her, because I do believe she actually rejected some hush money to like not talk about her experiences and put the book out. And you know, it's best we give her as much as she can get for being so honest and truthful about the way she's felt or the way things she's experienced all growing up. I bought this book on audiobook, and that's another thing I would recommend because it's actually narrated by Jennette, and it feels so close to her hearing the story in her words, because at some point you can actually hear her emotions through the voice, and it's actually really well done. This was one of the first memoirs I think I've ever read in my life, and this was also very accessible and easy to get into because I feel like I'm very intimidated by memoirs to the point where I literally just don't read them. And you know, it was an encouraging book to start off with as well if you want to get into memoirs, but keep in mind you need to check trigger warnings and you need to, you know, research about the book before you get into it because your mental health matters as well. And I will not be choosing to rate this book because it's about someone's real life experiences, and personally it feels wrong to me to be assigning like a star rating to, you know, someone's life experiences. So moving on from this book, finally for the last book of the video, I read Lessons in Chemistry. Now, if you've been on the channel for quite some time, you've heard me speak about it. I read it in the Barbie book video as well. And this book essentially follows Elizabeth Zott. It's back in the like 1960s. This is when women weren't really treated well or weren't treated equally as compared to men. She's like the only like women scientist of like her position working at the place she does. And so you actually get to watch her life. It doesn't follow like a specific plot, but you get to watch her life working there, and you get to see how male ego dominated the times back then. There were times in this book that I cried. There were times in this book that I laughed. You know, I felt the whole roller coaster and roster of emotions reading this. And I just wanted to mention the weirdest part is Bonnie Garmus, the author. She actually came to my hometown. She came to my city back in March, and I did not even know that until 2 days after she'd left. So I wish I did because I would have gotten my copy signed, but unfortunately that didn't happen. So I'm just so sad about that. But basically, if you haven't already been able to tell, this was a 5-star book for me. You watch her life take turns from the past of her working in that science firm till now the present, wherein now she's working at this like TV show and she's got her own cooking channel, and she's inspiring and encouraging all these women across different generations during that time era, especially when they were so suppressed and held down against, you know, claiming what was rightfully theirs. And it's just such a nice book to read about, to put things into perspective, read the storyline, and especially when everything connects at the end. I do believe the last 40 pages were especially painful to get through for me personally because I was literally just bawling my eyes out the entire time. Again, if you're reading this book, definitely check trigger warnings. I wouldn't want to recommend it to anyone wherein, you know, it's at the cost of your mental health. But if you have to read it, please pick this book up. This was, I think, the best book I read last year, and it's definitely one of the best books I've read in my lifetime. It definitely falls under top 5, and I will read anything Bonnie Garmus chooses to write, including her grocery list, because this was just the most perfect book. This had everything I wanted from literary fiction, and this makes literary fiction more accessible to me as a person because I'm intimidated by the aspect or the idea of picking up a literary fiction book, because there's been so many times that, you know, I pick it up and it feels too mind-boggling to me. And while this feels more like a woman's fiction, it was just so nice to get into. And already, I just want to say it, we're in 2024 right now. I wouldn't even be shocked if in the next 50 years this book gets considered like a classic or whatever, and kids are like reading it on like a daily basis, because this genuinely has that kind of essence in it. And it's definitely something that, you know, if you read, it's going to impact your lifetime and your ideology and the way you think. I love the way she fought for women, the way she just thought, and everything about her, the sarcasm in the book, the writing in the book, the story, the emotional aspects, and the way everything tied together. And again, there was a dog in this book called 630. I have been obsessed with that dog since the time I've read it. I keep thinking about it, and I can't wait to go watch the show now, because I believe it's got Sign of the Times by Harry Styles in it or something like that. That just makes it even better. So I'm so excited to get to more Lessons in Chemistry content. There's like a new special edition that also came out in one of my like town bookstores, wherein the edges are like sprayed, and then there's a different one wherein there's all these like periodic table signs, I think, on the cover, like the chemistry things. So I want to go buy those copies as well at some point and just, expand my collection. Hopefully she'll come one day again to my hometown so I can, get my book signed. And that's it. Honestly, this book is probably the book you should read in your lifetime if you're considering picking up like a book of like a recommendation video, especially of mine. I'd recommend this to all women. I feel like I'd recommend this to everyone, but specifically women if you want to go ahead and read this, because it was just so amazing. And that's it for this reading vlog. Now again, it was all over the place, just like my winter TBR one, because keep in mind the clips that I originally recorded for me talking about lessons in chemistry and I'm glad my mom died, they are kind of corrupted and not really great to use in the video anyway, and so I added Yellowface. The content has become bigger, hopefully more enjoyable for you as well, and hopefully you had a fun time coming along with me, checking books off the viral little books list and reading some more. All I really want these days is an excuse to read, which I got through this video, and it was fun coming along with it and doing that as well. So I hope you guys had a fun time coming along with me. If you did, and if you enjoyed the video, like, comment, share, subscribe, do all the YouTube things, you know how to do them, and I will see you hopefully very soon for the next Bookmas video, because I don't know what order these are coming out in, but regardless, I hope you're enjoying watching me on a daily basis, watching me yap about books, because that's my favorite thing to do in the world, and hopefully you enjoy watching it as well. So I'll see you guys very soon, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye!